Hi guys. This is a little bit different. It's just Zach and myself. Now we are going to record another video later on tonight, which actually I think will get released before this video. But essentially, we decided that we wanted to do something a little bit different. So we're going to talk about the World Cup thingamabobber with
Crown
Jewel, and go into detail about Evolution. This won't be as long as our normal podcast videos. It's only going to be about 20-30 minutes, but it's going to be a lot more ranty. We're going to do a little bit more, some political views on this in future videos. This one really doesn't have as many political issues.
Right.
But,
I mean, it has some, but what we're trying to do is trying to build this up to see whether you guys like it or not. I mean, we're the history majors out of the four, and so we're going to get more political and more ruckus, I guess, as we continue to do these. This might not be an every week thing. It might be only, every once in a while one of these will come on. Hopefully we can get it on longer and have more content, but we're going to go ahead and probably just jump right into this.
Yeah. So the video, because I believe this one I'm going to release on Friday, so you will probably have already seen the Cards Against Humanity video, which I hope you guys enjoy. We haven't shot it yet, though, so there's the timestamp. That'll be later on this evening. But into our topics. First off, I think we should go into Evolution first because it came last week.
Yeah.
Seriously, okay. First off, the Becky Lynch-Charlotte match was the best match on the card. Period. End of story. There were some other really good ones, but that was easily the best out of all of them. And it's a shame that it wasn't the last match on the card because I felt like by the end of it that people really didn't give a shit about Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella because that match went on not right before it, but it was third to last or whatever. And it's frustrating to me that two incredibly talented people like Becky and Charlotte get
shit on?
Not really shit on, but they just kind of get passed over because of a reality star, which is,
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
which is, not, it's basically fake star.
Right.
And then Ronda Rousey, who, yes, I get that a lot of people, like her and root for her, but, if this were 3 or 4 years ago before she got destroyed by Holly Holmes, then I could see how that would make sense. But in this instance, it's stupid that they're putting, a fake star. I'm gonna call her that for the rest of the time. A fake star and
botch mode.
And botch mode and Brie Bella, and then you have, a former UFC champ who hasn't really been relevant in UFC in years.
Since she lost, Holly.
Yeah, and they're getting put over two people who have been on honestly the best feud in the WWE, bar none. And it's really annoying to me, that they would think that that's what people want to see over Becky and Charlotte. And Becky and Charlotte tore the house down.
They beat the absolute hell out of each other.
Yeah, it was amazing. But, that's one frustrating thing. The other thing is they put no effort into the show.
No, none.
It was a glorified house show compared to what we saw at Crown Jewel, which was this fucking basically WrestleMania 2.0. Fireworks everywhere, Can
I stop you real quick? Because this is where I'm going to rant.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's probably going to get a little offensive, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Vince, I'm coming right at you, bud. What the fuck are you thinking, dude? Seriously, that Evolution. You're trying to push the women's. Oh, we haven't had a women's pay-per-view, a total women's pay-per-view. You have the opportunity, and you drop the fucking ball. You shit on everything that these women have worked for, going back to Mae Young and her old ass way back when, and you make it a fucking house show.
Yeah.
Put some fucking thought into it. I understand you want to give the Saudis and all these people a great show, but for my God, that was the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life. what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch Crown Jewel. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. After what happened with the assassination of the journalist,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I'm sorry about that. But I just refused to watch that show, and no amount of, Attitude Era,
And bringing
stars.
Hogan back.
I don't give a fuck about Hogan.
Right.
I think I've made it perfectly clear on previous podcasts that Hogan means nothing to me. I didn't watch Hogan growing up. By the time I started really watching wrestling, he was pretty much past his time.
Yeah.
So he doesn't mean... I understand a lot of people, grew up in the 80s and they watched Hogan and it was a big deal for them, but, I wasn't born until 90. I didn't watch WCW, so I didn't watch NWO stuff to see Hogan then. So by the time I actually got to see Hogan on a regular basis, it was back when he was with WWE, and by then he was an overrated, nothing at that point.
Old man.
And you hear enough about Hogan, basically, having way too much control and and it shit on a lot of people. So I just really don't care about Hogan at all. In the slightest bit. I do like Shawn Michaels, but even Shawn Michaels coming back was not enough to get me to watch the show.
No.
So I watched the Evolution PPV from start to finish. I thought it was good, but they, it literally looked like they condensed it into like an NXT house show. I mean, it was that bad. There just wasn't anybody there. And I think they would have sold out, but they didn't have a big enough arena.
I don't think they would have.
Well, I mean, WWE doesn't sell out anywhere anymore.
Well, and here's the thing, though. Vince, you said you're going to bring in 50 women, okay? You had 33 women on that roster. Why didn't you call the NXT? You're saying this is from the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah.
There were four women from NXT that performed that night. Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't think it was 4.
But see, the pre-show was Dakota Kai and somebody else. I didn't get to see that. I didn't even know it was on.
Yeah.
Because, you don't say who's going to be on your pre-show.
Yeah.
But for fuck's sake, you could have had at least 40, maybe 45, but,
Nikki Cross wasn't on there.
Yeah, you didn't bring any NXT. You brought 4 women from NXT up to fight.
And they were all in singles matches.
Yeah.
You had that battle royal that you could have thrown a bunch of people in. And Nia Jax won, and I understand that was for Roman, and I don't think we've actually had a podcast since Roman announced that he was sick, and we wish you the best, Roman, on everything. I'm not really a fan of the character, but you don't ever wish somebody to be sick with any sort of thing, cancer, leukemia, whatever. So I do wish him the best on that, but to be quite honest with you, it's aggravating to watch the WWE do some of the stupid shit they do. Okay, here's something I totally didn't even think about this until just now. Why the fuck is Brock Lesnar champ again? Why the fuck is this 3-move, shows up once a fucking month, waste of space?
I knew that was coming.
The fucking champ. If you don't believe in Strowman, then you could have thrown Drew McIntyre in there.
Yes.
And given him the title. I mean, I'm a Braun Strowman fan. I think Braun Strowman's fantastic. But
get these hands.
What the fuck is your that's just the dumbest fucking thing ever.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
It was look, I didn't watch it. I watched clips of the show on Facebook, and then I follow a group on YouTube that they don't really. I mean, they do this ups and downs show.
Yeah. And
that was good, and I watched all that, but I don't understand what their fascination is with Brock Lesnar. I don't. The fans don't want him. They boo him incessantly. Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. They're paying him money. I don't think he brings in as much money as they're paying him.
Yeah, and especially because they keep saying that he's going to go back to UFC at some point.
He's supposed to go to UFC, I think, next year.
Yeah, at the start.
Yeah.
He has, because of that suspension that he had.
I think it's Daniel
Cormier, yeah.
I don't watch UFC. I don't give a fuck about that stupid ass shit. But, yeah, it boggles my mind that they gave it to him. I mean, at the very least, if you give it to Strowman, you have Drew McIntyre fight him, and then you can have that feud. But now we're stuck with fucking Brock Lesnar again, so we won't see the title on Raw until maybe after Survivor Series.
Probably not until after WrestleMania, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't think he'll hold it past Survivor Series.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he'll lose it. No, I'm sorry. I'm fucking wrong with that because he's facing AJ Styles again.
Yeah.
He doesn't defend the title. That's right, because fucking Survivor Series, they don't defend titles on that show, because why the fuck would we?
Well, you gotta think, though, it is the only time of the year that...
That's a load of shit.
Unless it's WrestleMania.
They wrestled at Money in the Bank.
Well, yeah, okay.
Give me that shit.
But the way that they're building it is no titles are going to change because it's basically SmackDown versus Raw at Survivor Series.
Fucking
and then fucking Shane McMahon comes up and wins the goddamn Tournament of Champions.
What the fuck? First off, that's not a World Cup. It's not a fucking World Cup. 9 people technically wrestled. Every single fucking one of them's from America. Mm-hmm. That's not a World Cup. WWE, it's not a fucking World Cup. Seriously, you fucking morons. It's not. It's not a World Cup. It's an American Cup.
Yeah, and you can't even say Rey Mysterio was from Mexico because he was born in fucking San Diego.
He's from California. Yeah. All of them are from the U.S. That is not a World Cup. That's full of shit. He's not the best. CM Punk's the best in the world, but he's not the best. Yeah. He's not the best in the world. He's not even the best fucking wrestler. Literally, here's what gets me. He snuck onto the show. Okay, the 2 people that were battling in that had battled in 2 matches before that, because they did the semifinals and the brand specific finals. So they'd already been in 2 matches before that. Shane McMahon wrestles in for like a 5-minute match and gets the win.
It's all fucked up, man.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? It's like they all the writers and all the people backstage that were booking
Colin.
They were the people that were booking this fucking show went, let's get hammered, and then let's book a show. Fuck the Saudis. They murdered that person allegedly. So let's just give them a shitty show, but still take our $50 million. That's what we got out of that. That's what that was. It was stupid. It was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And I get that you got people that are wrestling 3+ matches on one night, so you got to keep all the matches short. But the fuck were y'all thinking? I mean, the first half of the show was actually okay. Like, all the qualifier matches were okay. Everything after the McMahon debacle, shall we say.
That's generous.
Everything after that was a fucking shit show. We haven't even gotten into the Shawn Michaels Triple H thing.
Oh, fuck that.
I guess Triple H tore his pec.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting on word if Miz actually hurt himself or if that was just, creative, being stupid. Which they were stupid the entire fucking night. But it just boggles my mind that this group of people who wrote and worked with the Attitude Era are so fucking incompetent that they can't come up with enough good storylines to put on a pay-per-view.
And you're making $50 million fucking dollars.
And 90% of it was the same wrestlers.
Yep.
It was the same 8 people.
Well, and see, this is where WWE, I'm sorry, but this is where WWE is going to start to crumble unless Vince moves on. Which I hope he does after the XFL.
Thank you, XFL, please.
But here's the thing. You have all of this talent. Men, women, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You have all of this talent, but you don't use them and you don't put them in meaningful storylines. how in the hell are they going to even be able to carry on if you're not going to do it? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's people on the card that I haven't seen in several weeks. And to be honest, I mean, there's not a lot of people on the show that I want to watch. Most of Raw I fast forward through.
Oh, yeah. You have to.
It's a 3-hour show, and 90% of it is filler until you get to the 2 titles, which this next 3 weeks is going to be completely pointless unless they do something similar to what they did last year,
right?
Where people were invading the other side,
yeah,
and doing that shit. Because right now it's just
it's just SmackDown and NXT is carrying the torch right now.
Raw ain't doing shit.
No, and that I'm sorry, that's sad to say.
It's not wrong,
but it's not wrong. But God, I remember when I was a kid watching Raw. And that was the biggest highlight of my week. I was talking with my friends, talking with people who loved WWE or WWF back then. And it was all about Raw. SmackDown was the funny show. You get more jokes in on SmackDown. Now it's just like SmackDown, NXT. Fuck, you can probably throw 205 Live and even above Raw. And that's sad.
Because I don't even watch 205 Live.
I don't either.
I don't know what the hell's going on 205 Live. I don't watch it.
Mm-mm.
I don't care about it. It's not interesting to me.
Well, look, you can even watch NXT over in the UK, and it's still more fun than Raw.
NXT is better, though.
Well, yeah.
They have a lot more creative freedom. That's part of the problem, is that because NXT is a WWE-specific show, and it's not on cable TV, they don't have to worry about as sponsors as much as Raw and SmackDown do, so they have a little more creative freedom to do stuff. The problem is that your best show is on a network that most people don't have.
USA.
You know, well, no, I mean like NXT.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I don't have the WWE Network, and I don't plan on getting the WWE Network. I can watch the pay-per-views over at Scott's house, so I don't have to worry about it. I was like, but I don't watch a lot of that stuff on there anyways, because I wouldn't. I mean, I might go back and watch some Attitude Era stuff, but most of the stuff now, I just don't care about them.
Ride Along is fucking hilarious, by the way.
I mean, I enjoy Ride Along occasionally, but, you know.
Oh, God, so funny.
Yeah, these 2 shows
were shit.
Just prove how out of touch WWE is with their fans. If they went with what their fans wanted, Strowman would be champ. I don't know who would have won the title, or would have won Best in America, not Best in the World. That doesn't exist.
I was kind of hoping Kurt Angle would have won that one, but
he's too old to do more.
I
than
know,
that.
but still,
he was not going to do more than
that's
that.
childhood just talking. Though.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, of the 8 of them, I'd say Seth Rollins is probably the best of the 8.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as talent-wise, Dolph Ziggler's up there. That's what pisses me off the most, is that Dolph Ziggler is a very talented wrestler, and he got undercut, you know, by Shane McMahon. Who, don't get me wrong, I like Shane McMahon, and I feel like this is a heel turn thing for him.
It is.
And all that, but why do we do this every week? You guys come up with something stupid that just it boggles my mind. I don't understand how they can be so stupid. Like it.
Well, you're not using your people smartly.
No.
I mean, if you really care about the fans and, like you say, Evolution would have been better than Crown Jewel. It's a first, man. It is a first. And you want us to remember the first to be the absolute best. And Evolution was a fucking joke. I agree with Colin. The best match on that card was Charlotte and Becky.
Yeah.
Then it was probably Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, and that's it. That's that whole match.
Which is shocking because Shayna Baszler is not very good.
No, but my God, you have an opportunity to do something correctly, but you let it go. You're like, oh well, here you go, girls. Just go have fun. Make this special.
I mean, WWE has this weird effect, though, with the women. It seems like where they push so hard on TV to make themselves look so PC and so great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women are, you know, the future, women are the best, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're going to push the women. And then they have shit like James Ellsworth win the first ever women's Money in the Bank. You know, you had to have, you know.
You have to ruin shit.
You know, Carmella had to have a man help her win, you know, because
right.
she's a woman. And then, you know, the women's show is put, you know, second best
to Crown Jewel next week.
You know, and Crown Jewel was the worst of the two shows. I mean,
yeah, well, by
there
far.
wasn't a good match on that show, I don't think.
No, and then you make
halfway.
You make Braun Strowman look like he's a bitch.
I mean, they did
2.5 minutes, dude.
I know. They tried to fake make him strong by having him take 5 F5s before you could go down, but it's like, we're not buying that. I was like, he still was bad. Like, he didn't have any offense.
Right.
He just got his ass, and they cheapened it by having Baron Corbin's dumbass
hit him with the title
to make it look like, you know, he just never had a chance because of whatever.
Right.
But it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, honestly, that you think we will buy into this because of that? Like, I'm not going to buy into any of that because it doesn't make any sense. Like, don't do that stupid shit. Like, and that's the biggest thing, is Baron Corbin said after the show, they had him on Facebook Live, he's like, I want to build it to be the best ever. And I'm like, so you built it by giving your championship to a guy that shows up once a fucking month tops.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, yeah, you made a smart decision, Baron. Yeah, good job, creative. Way to make it seem real.
Well, and my thing is, this whole thing, and the whole thing with Shane McMahon, and this is the thing that drives me nuts, is they want to do, like from last Survivor Series, this time they want it to be Kurt Angle versus Shane. Again, like, we haven't already seen it a million times.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do that with Kurt because he's older now.
And so is Shane.
And so is Shane. But Shane, and now hell, those guys are in hell good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. But I don't want to see that anymore. I want to see this new talent that you have, that you don't push, that you might as well just say, hey, stay in NXT, do not come up, because we're not going to use you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that kills me. You're not giving these young people a chance. And you say, well, they're the future of the company. Are they really, though? I mean, how often are they on a show doing anything meaningful? Case in point, Sasha and Bailey. You haven't seen shit from them. You saw them at Evolution. You see them on the start of the card, maybe even mid card, but it's at the lower end of the mid card. And you don't push either of them. Yeah, you're feeding Nia Jax to Ronda. I don't want to see that anymore. Look, that first time that Nia and Ronda got into it, it looked like a botch mode, a botch fest.
Yeah.
Give us something.
Well, they're getting ready to feed Becky Lynch to Ronda next, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't know
what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, they're gonna wind up putting fucking Ronda over.
Yep.
Which is stupid. She's not going to be there for much longer. She's going to make it to maybe one WrestleMania, be done, go to start her movie career, have her family.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. But then you're right back in the same fucking mess.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you this. You look at let's look at the two women that have the most titles right now. Charlotte with 7 and Alexa Bliss with 5.
That are currently on it.
That are currently on, yeah.
Because Trish has 7 too. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
But my thing is, okay, so you're putting those two women. I can count on one hand how many titles Bayley, Sasha, and Becky have all had.
Well, Sasha's had 4.
Still, so that's 4.
Becky's had 2.
2.
And Bayley's had 1.
Yes.
So 7.
7 total. 7 total between 3 fucking women.
Yeah. Because Charlotte's got all of them.
Because Charlotte has 7. She's probably going to wind up getting an 8th one before the year's over.
I don't think so. I think Becky's going to hold on to this title for a while. I think Charlotte's going to go over.
But you know what they need to do with Becky, and I love Becky to death. But I don't. I think after Survivor Series, she's going to drop it to Asuka.
I doubt it.
I don't.
They're just not going to have her be a champion. Her and Shinsuke just couldn't get over in WWE's mind.
Because they wouldn't let them. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that WWE doesn't see them as future champions, at least in top card people, main event talent. So they're just not going to, and it's dumb because I think Asuka has a lot of talent, but it's just not going to happen. So, I mean, I don't know what the next couple months is. I mean, obviously Becky's going to hold on to her title through Survivor Series. Maybe at TLC, maybe that might happen, but I doubt it. I honestly, Charlotte's going to go ahead and probably win the Royal Rumble and go after Ronda Rousey, and they're going to face off at WrestleMania.
I bet you that's when she retires after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
She'll only do a year and then be gone.
Oh, I agree.
But see, this is the thing. Like, do something. Give women an opportunity to go after tag titles. Something, anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, by not giving your undercard talent any time, the show is going to suffer. You keep bringing people back. Case in point, DX and fucking the Brothers of Destruction. Jesus Christ, if it was 10 years ago, absolutely would want to see it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, but y'all are old.
Yeah.
Y'all are old. Now, I do want to get in one point, and this is going to be the more political point, and I've been thinking about this all week. And I'm not sure how she made it through all the way, but she did. What the fuck is WWE thinking by sending Renee Young, who was not covered at all, which is not following the Sharia law that they follow in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
How in God's green earth did she not get stoned to death?
I was surprised.
I was too, because they must have had a very good protection detail, because if Renee would have been by herself, she would have been stoned. She would have been stoned, and it would have not been... It would have been another blood on WWE's hands.
Yeah, I was deeply concerned when they talked about Renee Young going over there instead of Tom Phillips. I understand that Renee Young is way more talented than, at least at announcing, than fucking Byron Saxton. But it was a risk that I was deeply concerned about because I know how that works over there. But they must have made an agreement with the people running the show and with Saudi's government, that we're gonna bring a woman to announce this, whatever, you're gonna have to deal with it. That's how it's gonna work, or we're not gonna be here. By the way, props to Cena and Daniel Bryan.
Absolutely.
For not taking the blood money and just saying, fuck it, we're not going. It may have cost Daniel Bryan a chance at ever being a champion again, but, stand up for what you believe is right. So that's fantastic. But I don't know. The whole show was disconcerting. That really concerned me. I'm really glad that nothing serious happened. And I know a lot of people may think that that's a little overly sensitive to think that at a wrestling show that somebody would do that. But I mean, people are crazy, man.
Yeah, well, and especially in Saudi Arabia. I mean, you don't...
In the Middle East in general.
Yeah,
it's so dangerous
right now. Well, and you can't... And see, that's the thing, like... I know from what Scott sent me at work on Thursday night, it's, it was going through, the cameramen were told to pan through to find the women in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I don't know if they found any, but if they did find them, they were in burqas like most women in the Middle East are.
Yeah.
That is what concerned me the most. And you don't know, the security could be a complete joke over there. Somebody could have an AK-47, snuck it in, and you're going to have a bunch of dead Americans. Here's the thing, WWE, and I want you to really understand where I'm coming from when I tell you this. Hire security, very, very good security, and for God's sake, if you're going to bring Renee Young again, and I love her to death, and I'm not trying to say, well, she shouldn't be there, but you better have guns around her that are going to keep her alive, because if they take her, I'm done, because you guys are making mistakes, and you're taking this too lightly. You want the money, the $1 billion over the 10 years, but it's not worth American lives or anybody's life, a Westerner's life, because they hate us. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too dangerous over there to be playing games and to try and do anything that would upset that group of people. And you can't take that risk when it comes to people's lives. And, and I'm pretty sure they made, I'd almost guarantee they made sure ahead of time, that everything was cool and on the up and up before they did anything. I don't think they'd risk lives.
But did you notice that Renee, though?
I didn't watch
it was,
the show,
well,
so I didn't notice
I saw a piece on Facebook. She was completely, she had to wear clothes that were, the sleeves on her shirt, there were no sleeves. I mean, it was a sleeve from her top of her shoulder all the way down to her wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you could see skin-wise on Renee was her face and her hands.
Yeah.
And everything else was covered.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dangerous stuff that you're gonna have to take into account. Now, my question, though, and this is the question I have for people who've been following the WWE. You've already had 2 women wrestle in Saudi Arabia. Well,
no, it wasn't Saudi Arabia.
Where was it?
They were doing it, I believe, in Abu Dhabi.
Well,
it was in the Middle East, but it wasn't Saudi Arabia.
But you've already had women wrestle. Why is it that you're not going to take your women? Well, you've already had Alexa and Sasha fight. What's the big deal? You're going to have to tell the women you have to wear long sleeves. I'm sure they could have done that. Are you just thinking, hey, here's a cool $1 billion, I'm going to take it? What I'm not understanding is you're not fighting very hard for one side of your talent roster. And I mean, it's just blatantly obvious. Especially after Evolution, blatantly obvious you could care less about this so-called women's revolution. And that's sad, because they deserve a whole hell of a lot better than what they got last Sunday.
Well, I'm done with my rant.
I'm done with mine. I've ranted enough as it is. I've ranted to many different people this week. I tried to save some of it to have a good one, but like we said, this channel, or not this channel, but this podcast, we don't know how often we're going to be able to do it. But this is going to be more of the political satire, the historical significance of things. Because I know there are people who don't really like games, don't really like wrestling. But this channel, what we're going to try to do with this is, it's just time for Colin and I to sit down and talk about things that I would say that really do matter. I'm not saying that the stuff that we talk about and do on the regular channel is bad, but a lot more people are going to be following the political side because we're getting close to midterm elections this Tuesday.
Yep.
So we're going to do more things that are more important to
the nation as a whole.
Yeah, to the world as a whole, I should say. And we hope you guys like this. Please leave some comments. We want to know what you think, and it's going to help us develop better. Like I said, we don't know how often we're going to do it, but just give us some feedback and see what you like and what we can improve on.
Yeah. More than likely, it'll be here. We're actually at my house. We're at my apartment. If you could tell by the banners in the back. We're not at Scott and Stevens, so we're hanging out at my place doing this interview. So that's why it's way different than what you're used to seeing, and it probably looks better because the light's not in the way.
Right.
I bitch about that every fucking week.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, you
every
do.
week, every week before the show, I'm like, that light is just annoying because it takes up so much attention from the actual thing, and in this case, the camera or the light's way over there.
Yeah, well, then my ADD, like, I'm watched going up and down. I'm just like, I got to stop.
All right, guys. Well, this should be out Friday night, Saturday morning, somewhere in that range. We're trying to space it away from the main show. But again, like, share, and subscribe to the Four Corners Podcast. We hope you guys enjoy the show that's coming out on Tuesday. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
Cards Against Humanity is always a good time. So,
and please make sure you like this, subscribe to this. Let us know what you want to see on our little thing. But any little thing that you can do to help us, to make us better, we'll take it, and we will appreciate it.
We appreciate constructive criticism.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And Lord knows we're going to need it, because this Tuesday we're going to have some more news, so we're just going to, figure out what we're going to do and bring it to you when we can.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time, whenever that is. I don't know when it is.
Me neither.